like two of them, right? Very good. Much better.
You know, we do know some of the.
Yeah.
You learned that one day. Yeah. We're not gonna talk.
Oh, good. How are you? Good to see you. Smart. Oh. I'm I know I can't be there, so I've got to be. But if you want to send us info. How are you? Good, you? Good. You ready?
Veterans.
And me, I am. Virtual is. Are you?
Thanks, sir.
I know virtual.
Great thing I can do for you today.
Hey, Mark, you
Don't get my food for you today.
sorry.
I said, great thing I can do for you today.
Well, I don't think so today, but I'll hear what's going on here. They have some questions later on.
Give me a hug.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Virtual won't be. Yeah, back. Do you want to start down and let me do a presentation real quick?
I can do that.
I'm sorry. He read. You just said you were.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Kenny. Had a little light in that. You hear that about the light like this? Right here. Listen to Z, man. Yeah. And it's no matter. That's good.
All the things should get fixed. Your problem should get fixed.
Oh,
Chris, you know, come on.
Hey, hey.
yeah, don't do it. They already did it. Betty,
Manny.
Kenny, Betty.
That's what happened as soon as she came.
Go be the judge. Oh, he won't need to, he don't need to sign this. He's going to. Good morning. Thank you for being here. If you'll stand, we'll be led in a word of prayer by our treasurer Kenny Edwards and remain standing for our pledges.
We come to you, first of all, thank you. We bless us upon each one, Lord. Thank you for the rain, Lord. Pray you continue to keep your hand upon us this day. Pray for this community sport, to go through and make the city, for this county, Lord. We pray for this country, Lord. We pray for men and women of all services. Continue to watch over us in your name, we pray.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Under God. Thank you for being here. It's quite an agenda. And I said, I told them, be sure and bring you sack lunch. We're gonna be here a while. But I do call to order the regular session of the Van Zandt County Commissioners Court on Wednesday, August 31st, 2022 at 9:01 a.m. With a quorum, we do have a quorum established. Commissioner Melton is not able to be with us. He had back surgery last week. And so he'll be out. I've had 3 of them. He said he'd be out in just a few days and be back. But remember him in your prayer that he continues to heal and he gets some relief. So we do have a quorum. Item number 2, discuss and consider dispensing with the reading of the minutes of the meetings of the Commissioners Court and approval of same for August 17th, 2022 and August 18th, 2022.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner West, second by Commissioner Pearson. Is there any questions, discussion, corrections to the minutes? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 3, discuss and consider approval of county bills for payment as submitted.
Make a motion.
Got a motion by Commissioner LaBrada,
Second, Pierce.
second by Commissioner Pearson. Is there any questions or discussion about the bills that's been submitted for payment? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 4, discuss and consider ratifying of county bills as submitted.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner West,
Second.
second by Commissioner LaPrade. Any questions or discussion about the bills submitted to be ratified? Being none, all in favor, say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 5, general business. Is there any general business we need to be? Yes, sir.
I have an announcement, but we've got a group in this county that's on call 24/7. They're dispatched by law enforcement, and they're put in harm's way a lot of times if they're out. And they do this for no pay, and that's our volunteer fire department. They work hard. To make ends meet, they depend on donations and they also depend upon people sending their funds. So what I wanted to announce is that the Whitman Volunteer Fire Department will have their barbecue brisket fundraiser September 10th, 6 o'clock at the Whitman Volunteer Fire Department. And they do justice for us. So we invite our members.
Thank you. They do a great job. We couldn't make it without, and even in the disasters and stuff, couldn't make it without. Any other general business, any announcements that need to be made? Okay. Being none, we'll move to item number 6, public comments. We did have Dwayne Collins, but you'll be able to, you're going to speak on the that agenda item.
So it's I'll just get it back for it. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to let Tonda know when, because she's, yeah, gotcha. Okay, no one else signed up for public comments. We move to item number 7, discuss and approve renewing Dr. J.W. Daly to be the local health authority for Van Zandt County. And Dr. Daly's in attendance with us today. Yeah, if you come to the podium, let me tell you, we couldn't make it without this guy. He has helped us through the pandemic, been here with us. I want to say publicly, thank you for your service to Van Zandt County. You're a blessing to Van Zandt County. We couldn't make it without you. And we have to do this every 2 years. And he's willing to serve again another 2 years for our local health authority. So if you raise your right hand, do you, Dr. J.W. Daly, do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully execute the duties of the Office of Health Authority of the state of Texas and will, to the best of your ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state? So help you God.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And thank you for your service to Van Zandt County. And Christie's got some paperwork for you. Yes. Item number 8, discuss and consider. I guess we ought to vote.
Number 7.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
That's for number 7. That's for
yeah,
Chad.
Chad. Number 8, discuss and consider letter of support for Canton Area Radio Emergency Services, Services CARES. Mr. Pulley's here to represent that.
Thank you,
Pulley.
sir. We are again, getting ready to request a grant from Trinity Valley Electric Co-op. And, we, have enjoyed your support, the court support in years past, and would, ask again if you could consider doing that for us. Our communications in the county, we are improving it, but when down in the south part of the county, we have to utilize Henderson County's repeater in order for us to maintain contact. And so we're wanting to eliminate that, be able to take care of business ourselves. As far as the services that we actually gave the county this year, we spent many hours out on the road looking for the severe weather as it came through. And we did spend a good bit of time health and welfare checks when we would find trees down and barns down and everything else, and see damage around the area. We would go and knock on doors and get people out and make sure they were okay, see if they needed anything. And so we spent numerous hours doing that for the county this year. We're just asking a letter of support from you, sir, for us to ask for the grant.
Okay. We did this last year.
Yes, sir.
Through Trinity Valley. And requesting again, is there a motion to support the letter, allow me to sign?
So move, Pearson.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pearson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner West. Any questions or discussion for Mr. Pulley?
Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for your
bet.
service. And
You bet.
being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank
It's
you,
an honor,
sir.
Mr. Pulley. Yeah,
Thank you for your service.
well, thank you. Item number 9, discuss and consider terminating TransUnion account and signing back up with LexisNexis regarding the engine and health program. Casey Harden's here. Wanting to know if she has to come to the podium. That, yeah.
Okay, so back in August of 2019, we signed up with TransUnion. And the reason was because we had been using LexisNexis and we were on a pay-as-you-go basis, and our average payments were like $30 a month. Well, they came out and said they were going to start charging us $150 a month, and we were going to have to sign a contract. So we shopped around and went with TransUnion, which was $100 a month. And over the last few years, we just weren't getting the same information that we were getting from LexisNexis. And LexisNexis gave us a contract to look at. It's for $150 a month. It would be split between 3 departments: Department of Indigent Healthcare, Department of Indigent Defense, and Collections. So I've talked to those ladies. They agree that, well, one of the departments, she's happy with TransUnion, but she said she would be fine switching back over to LexisNexis. The other department, she is not finding this current company. She's not able to follow through because her mail is being returned because they're not getting her complete information. So we're asking at this time if we can switch over. It'll be an additional $50 a month, but it'll be split 3 ways. So it'd be $50 per department. Right now, we're paying $33 per department. So.
Okay, and I do believe there's a 60-day notice.
I got a letter from the sales rep at TransUnion. I sent it to Sandy with the auditor's office, and it states that we do not have to pay a cancellation fee.
Okay. Okay. Any questions for Casey?
Well, that was the only one that I had was about the penalty that we would pay because it was 60 days, but it was 60 days before the new contract kicked in.
I talked to the sales rep a few months ago and told him that I was wanting out of the contract. And at that point, he started giving me high pressure sales, trying to keep me in the contract. And so he did get 60 days notice. He realizes that, and I do have it in writing that we are not going to have to pay a early cancellation fee.
Okay.
And it's really not an early cancellation because August the 15th would have been the start of a new contract. And they said that they haven't actually started it yet. And so September, they've canceled us as of tomorrow or Thursday, the 1st. Our contract with them is canceled.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the termination of TransUnion account and sign up with Nexus Lexus?
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner West. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a second by Commissioner LaPrada. Any questions or discussion for Casey? Being none, all in favor, say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Casey.
Y'all have a good day.
Item number 10, discuss and consider declaring September 13th Uncle Sam Day and September the 14th Star Spangled Banner Day in Van Zandt County. Ms. Wolverton is with us here. Always a pleasure to see you.
Good to see
Yeah.
you. Good morning.
I've always told there's a lot of volunteers, but some of them are very, very passionate,
Yes.
and you are.
Very
Thank you.
passionate. Well, I always come with just a little bit of a surprise, and I did today. I'm not gonna let y'all down. Today, we're gonna present some anchor awards. The anchor is a mainstay, a reliable or a principal support. The anchor also symbolizes safety, security, confidence, hope, stability, good luck, and consistent strength. The anchor award is presented to individuals who have shown steadfast support for patriotic acts and have great pride and love of our country. On this day, as president of the Captain James Burleson Chapter, Texas Society, U.S. Daughters of 1812, I'm honored to present the Anchor Award to the Honorable Judge Don Kirkpatrick, Commissioner Chad LaPrade, Commissioner Virgil Melton, Commissioner Keith Pearson, and Commissioner Tim West, in appreciation for outstanding dedication and support to patriotic endeavors and service above and beyond the call of duty. Gentlemen, I would like to present you with your anchor awards.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all so much.
Thank you.
It means so much.
Thank
to
you
us.
for what you do.
Would you like to see the picture? Want to stand up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Here. Do it again. Another time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We're very blessed. to have you as our support, y'all. Not everybody gets
It's a good
this.
group. It's a good group.
All righty, and I'm here to talk about a couple of things. The first one is Uncle Sam Day. And I have a little bit of information on Uncle Sam. He's an American icon, a national symbol for the United States of America, originated during the War of 1812. Samuel Wilson, locally known as Uncle Sam to the town of Troy, New York, was a meat packer and inspector of beef and pork for the profitable E&S Wilson Company, a business owned by Sam and his brother Ebenezer. After the U.S. declared war against Great Britain on June the 18th of 1812, the E&S Wilson Company was chosen by the government to supply meat for the Northern Army of the United States. A contractor named Albert Anderson purchased a quantity of provisions from the Wilsons, and the barrels of meat were marked EA for the initials of the name and U.S. for the United States. The story is told that when one of Wilson's workmen inquired what the letters US stood for, another company employee jokingly said the initials stood for their employer, Sam Wilson, Uncle Sam. The story was repeated often during the years of the War of 1812, and the name of Uncle Sam in the US became synonymous. On September 15, 1961, the US Congress recognized Samuel Wilson of Troy, New York, as the progenitor of America's national symbol, Uncle Sam, and in 1989 designated Wilson's birthday, September 13th, as Uncle Sam Day. So I'm here to request a proclamation from you all. Shall I read it?
You may, sure.
Whereas the figure of Uncle Sam can be traced well back to colonial time, the actual figure of Uncle Sam dates from the War of 1812. And whereas the War of 1812 sparked a renewed interest in national identity, which had faded since the American Revolution. And whereas Samuel Wilson supplied rations of beef and pork for the soldiers during the War of 1812 and was himself a veteran of the American Revolution, Wilson was a man of great fairness, reliability, and honesty, and was devoted to his country. And whereas Samuel Wilson was well liked by the residents of his town, who referred to him as Uncle Sam, the soldiers knew the designation on the barrels of meat they received were packed and provided by Uncle Sam. And whereas Uncle Sam gained widespread acceptance as the nickname for the US government and became a popular symbol of an ever-changing nation. And whereas in September 1961, the US Congress recognized Samuel Wilson as the progenitor of America's national symbol of Uncle Sam. And whereas Uncle Sam represents a manifestation of patriotic emotion.
Is there a motion to approve the proclamation?
So
Got one by Commissioner West. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner LaFred. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Now therefore, the Van Zandt County Commissioners Court do hereby proclaim September the 13th, 2022 as Uncle Sam Day.
thank
Great. And then we have a very important day coming up. It's Star Spangled Banner Day. On September 14, 1814, a lawyer named Francis Scott Key wrote his poem, The Defense of Fort McHenry. The fledgling of the US was 2 years into its second war with Great Britain. Things were going right for the Americans early in the war because the British were distracted by their current war with France. But when Napoleon was defeated in April 1814, the British turned their full attention to the former colony. Americans were shocked and appalled when the British marched into Washington, D.C., burned the Capitol and the White House. Every American heart is bursting with shame and indignation at the catastrophe, said one Baltimore resident. The British moved on from Baltimore and they went into Fort McHenry. Francis Scott Key, a lawyer who had been sent to negotiate the release of an American prisoner, was on a British truce boat behind the lines during the battle. Suddenly, in the middle of the night, the British stopped firing. From their boat, Key and the other men had no idea whether the British had succeeded or given up and retreated, as they could no longer see the harbor now that the sky was dark. After waiting all night, he and the men were finally able to see by the dawn's early light of September 14, 1814, that the American flag soared above the fort. And I'm asking for a proclamation from you all. Whereas on September 14, 2022, it marks the 208th anniversary of the writing of the Star Spangled Banner by Francis Scott Key, a defining moment in the War of 1812, America's second and final war for independence. And whereas on March 3rd, 1931, Key's immortal words were officially declared the national anthem of the United States of America by House Resolution number 14, signed into public law 823 by President Herbert Hoover. And whereas it was the site of the large 30 by 40 foot Star Spangled Banner flag waving over Fort McHenry that directly inspired Francis Scott Key to compose the words of that anthem. Whereas the national anthem and the American flag have evolved to become the strongest symbols of the spirit and resolve of the American people over the last 2 centuries. And whereas many millions of Americans cherish and respect the currently accepted version, both words and music of the Star Spangled Banner, with such version being the service version prepared in 1918 by the War Department for use in Navy and Army and Navy songbooks. And whereas sporting and public events begin with the singing and playing of the national anthem as a reformation of patriotism and love of our country. And now, therefore.
Is there a motion to approve the proclamation?
Yes, sir.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pearson. Is there a second?
second.
Got a second by Commissioner West. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Now therefore, the Van Zandt County Commissioners Court do hereby proclaim September the 14th, 2022 as Star Spangled Banner Day. And do urge all citizens to recognize and celebrate the birthday of our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. And if you go on YouTube and you see there's a where there were prisoners in the bottom of the boat and stuff, and they couldn't tell if that flag was still flying or not. And it's moving. It's moving. Anybody that's ever seen it, I go on YouTube, Google it, and look at it. And thank you for what you do. Thank you for your service. If you want to introduce these, you don't do it by yourself. I understand that. If you want to introduce the ones
Yes, I want to introduce these ladies. This is Sherry Archer. She's regent of our DAR chapter, and she's going to speak to y'all next. And this is Pat Tebow. She is the honorary president of the John Cabot chapter of U.S. Daughters of 18. Y'all want to get the picture
Thank you. Thank you. Oh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I want to tell you all something fun to note. In March of 2023, Van Zandt County turns 175 years old. And Van Zandt County was initially known as the Free State of Van Zandt. And I think we need to commend our commissioners because we are now debt free. And that is why we were originally called the Free State of Van Zandt.
Thank you. Thank you. You can come on up, Sherry. Item number 11, discuss and consider declaring September the 17th through 23rd of 2020 Constitution Week.
One more patriotic thing for this.
Oh, that's right.
In 1955, the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution petitioned Congress with a resolution to set aside September 17th through the 23rd, dedicated for the observance of Constitution Week. The annual celebration was established when signed into law by President Dwight D. Eisenhower on August 2nd, 1956. Each year, the President of the United States proclaims September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. And we are asking our county judge to also proclaim this week as Constitution Week in Van Zandt County. Would you like me to do
I would.
Whereas September 17th, 2022 marks the 235th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitution Convention. And whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize this magnificent document and the anniversary of its creation, whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize the patriotic celebration which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of the proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. I therefore, Don Kirkpatrick, Van Zandt County Judge, hereby proclaim September 17th through 23rd, 2022 to be Constitution Week in Van Zandt County.
Is there a motion to approve the proclamation?
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner West,
Second, Pearson.
second by Commissioner Pearson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you so much. Thank
We
you.
also have a poster for
Okay,
Constitution Week that we would like to place in the courthouse if that is acceptable.
that we would do.
And also, before you sign this, DAR also participates in Bells Across America. And on September 17th, each year, citizens gather and ring their bells and read the preamble to the Constitution. And our Natchez River chapter DAR will be
in front of the courthouse Saturday, September 17th, to ring our bells and read the preamble to the Constitution. If anyone would like to join us, we'll be more than
Well,
welcome.
thank you. Sign that. And Christie's got a gold seal if you want one that looks gold. Yeah, her. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Oh. yeah, picture. Thank you for your good one. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you,
Thank
Gary.
you.
Gary and Sherry.
Y'all have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks again.
And we was presented a, item number 12, discuss and consider declaring September 22nd, September of 2022 as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. There was a gentleman gonna come and represent that. He had COVID, so we excused him. Is there a motion to approve the proclamation declaring September the 2022 as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month?
So
Got a motion by Commissioner LaPrade. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner West. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 13, discuss and consider and approve application for EDCOG fiscal year 2023 solid waste grant by precinct 1. Commissioner LaPrade, you want to address the board?
Yes, gentlemen, this is that grant that Commissioner Pearson has been using over in precinct 3 for the precinct wide cleanup. And we can utilize it in different precincts without hurting one other grant, and seeing how successful he was with it. I would want to implement the same thing in my precinct. So I'm asking permission to apply for this grant.
Okay. That's a motion.
Yes.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner LaPrade, second by Commissioner Pierce. Any questions or discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 14, discuss and consider and approve application of EDCOG fiscal year 2023 solid waste grant by precinct 3.
Yes, sir. As Chad mentioned, I believe this will be our 6th year, or next, 6th or 7th year that we've applied for this grant. It's a one-day cleanup that we join in with the city of Wills Point. Anybody that lives in precinct 3 or city of Wills Point, and we've even taken it from other parts of the county and bring their debris to precinct 3 barn. We help them offload it in the dumpsters. And so I'm asking for the court approval to apply for that grant. East Texas County Government said we could both put in for the grant as long as we didn't do it on the same day. It's possible that we could both receive this grant. They've raised it from $3,000 grant to a $4,000 grant. I'm making a motion to allow precinct 3 to do so.
Okay, that's a motion by Commissioner Pearson, second by Commissioner LaPrade. Any questions or discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 15, discuss and consider resolution by Van Zandt County Commissioners Court in support of governor to take necessary action to stop the chaos on our border. Mr. Collins, the Doc Collins is here, I think. Okay.
I wanted to speak on the resolution. I have given you a copy of several resolutions that have been passed by different counties in relationship to our invasion at the southern border, the illegal immigration situation. I'll give you exactly the bottom of the resolution here. I gave them to you. I didn't give you or submit you a form that I would like you to fill out. I'd like the court to do their own thing in relationship to this, but I want to read the, therefore be it resolved, and I'm going to give you some background on why. The bottom of the resolution would read, that we recognize our southern Texas border as suffering an invasion and recognize and affirm the sovereign and unilateral authority explicitly reserved to the states respectively under Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution and Article 4, Section 7 of the Texas Constitution to defend themselves against invasion, which has been exacerbated by the federal government's failure in meeting its constitutional obligations to ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, execute the laws, and protect each state against invasion. And supporters of these state-led efforts of Operation Lone Star and the expanded operation authorities available under Section 1 or Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution, Article 4, Section 7 of the Texas Constitution, and request Governor Abbott to take necessary steps as allowed under Article 1, Section 10 of the United States of America, Constitution of America, and Article 4, Section 7 of the Texas Constitution to secure the Texas border and stop the invasion at the border, including the actions primarily and including the actions by predominantly narco-terrorist cartels that pose a huge risk to our community. Calls upon the federal government to uphold its duties to adequately secure and protect the borders of the United States. A little background, I'll give you some personal, if you haven't heard me talk on the border situation, I belong to a group called the Texas Border Volunteers, been active for 13 years. I've been active over the last probably 6 years with them. We have 4 border watches a year. It's individuals that go down to our southern border, the Rio Grande sector, south of Falfurrias, north of McAllen. This was at one time the busiest checkpoint coming up out of Mexico. Del Rio, Eagle Pass has now taken that mantra of being the busiest. What we do is we station ourselves at the checkpoint. The illegals are dropped off south of that checkpoint. They hit the bush and make it around the checkpoint and picked up on the north side. We work with the Border Patrol, DPS. We do not do any law enforcement as far as apprehensions and such. We just report them and they send out the Border Patrol to apprehend them. Been doing this for years, been trying to make people aware of this situation. That was one of our missions, to make people aware of what's going on the border. Well, that mission, we can scratch that from our mission statement because it's all over the media. You know what's happening. You pick up the paper. I don't have to remind you of what's happening. Our first border watch under our President Biden was in March of the year that he took office. We reported more illegals in that first watch, first watch, and we had 4 here, than we saw the last 2 years combined under President Trump. It was that bad. The last couple of border watches, we were down there because Eagle Pass and Del Rio got so active, there weren't enough field agents, Border Patrol, to pick up the ones that we reported. We reported them coming across, had them essentially cornered. It was an hour and a half before they got there. And of course, they scattered like quail. And we say, well, that's the border that isn't affecting us up here in Van Zandt County. It is. And you know that. I know that. It's affecting the whole country. A couple of instances, and don't get me wrong, I am all for legal immigration. I got an individual who's worked for me for 20 years. It's green carded. He's still a Mexican citizen, but he's legal green carded. He came to me a number of years ago and said, I need to get my family out of what's happening in Mexico. I said, okay, Anders, we'll do this. We're going to do it legal. It took us 2 years, thousands of dollars to get his entire family out to it. The day they stepped off the bus, his two older boys who were in their twenties, went to work that day and had quit sent. They put up that buildings now, gonna start their own company there. Believe it, though, believe it. His youngest son was a was a freshman in high school, couldn't speak the word English. We put him in the band, ISD. His goal was to speak English, graduate from high school, join the service so he could get his citizenship. He accomplished all those goals except his parents said, "We don't want you in the army, it's too dangerous." But he's got a good paying job, believe me, good paying job, and you can't detect a Spanish accent. He speaks to the fine family, fine family. That's the kind of people we need here. It needs to be done legal, but it isn't that way. And, you know, I could go on and tell you the need for us to secure that border, and you already, I think, are aware of it. But this document of us supporting those people on the southern border will go a long way in hopefully convincing our governor. He's done some good job sending all of them up there to Washington and New York and upset. I mean, you can't get much better than that. But he is, he can step it up a little further. We hope he will. And we're asking him to declare it an invasion. If he does that, then he can move the National Guard troops, Texas National Guard down there to help out. Do a much better job. So we're doing that in support of those counties along the border that have already passed this resolution. There are two big meetings that are going to take place in the state. In fact, I'm going to be down there testifying in front of the House on the 7th. And our Senator Bob Hall is the one that's sponsoring this. They have 15 people coming in. Ken Cuccinelli is going to be there. I don't know if you know, remember who he was. He was the Secretary of Homeland Security under Trump. He's the main speaker. But okay, it's going to be an all-day affair trying to address this issue. I applaud Secretary Hall for putting all this together. And the second meeting is going to be in Houston. I'm working with a group of people, Border Patrol and such. And I've been a part of getting this organized. It's going to be a meeting in Houston. Going to do the same thing. It's going to be an all-day affair of people with knowledge of what's happening on the border. They're coming in and even have Fox News correspondent Laura Logan. I don't know if you've ever seen her. She's done a lot of reporting on the border. And when General Mike Flynn heard about it, he called the group and said, "I want to be a part of this." So he's going to be a part of that too. He's going to be down in Houston. Hopefully shake people up. We've got to do something. I told you about honors. I won't tell you about, does it affect what goes on in Van Zandt County? It certainly does. Twin Lakes, the Deckers over here have 15 Hispanic Mexican families that work for them. A lot of them are green carded, just like Honors is my man that works for me. And one of them got a note from the cartel that they had kidnapped his wife and his daughter, and they were demanding $10,000. And he didn't have $10,000, so he went to the Deckers. And according to what they told me, they were ready to help out. Then the other families heard about what was about to take place. They had a meeting and said, "Don't pay that ransom." Everybody in Mexico knows where our money is coming from. And if you pay that, we're going to be next, our families that are down there. So they worked it out and convinced the cartel that his employer was not going to pay the fine, pay the ransom. So he said, "All I have is minimum amount of money." He sent it down there to us, and thank goodness they released it. But we're seeing that if any of you are going to leave here, if you finish in time, come to the Lions Club meeting. Excuse me, a group called Shepherd's Watch, who helps the sex trafficked individuals. They do the investigation. They help with sex trafficking in this area as well as down in the Houston area, and they are seeing the illegals being sex trafficked So we are seeing the situation here. And I've said my thing, but I want you to hear a story from our DA, Tom McCurry, that just makes you shake your head. So this got to stop. So I defer. DA.
Thank you. I want to start off, gentlemen, by saying it's going to appear that I am speaking ill of our Department of Public Safety. And I want you to know that I have the utmost respect for DPS. When I was a federal prosecutor, I worked very closely with DPS, and I would put them up against any federal agency that I worked with. And they produce just as high, if not higher quality investigations. So when I learned of this particular incident, I made some phone calls to find out why it was handled the way it was, and I will explain that in the end for you. But this is a case that happened in February of this year, right here in Van Zandt County. A DPS trooper, and let me say this, it's not one of our troopers here in Van Zandt County. I can assure you, if this had happened with one of our troopers that I work closely with, that I would have gotten a phone call from the side of the road and we would have handled it differently. But on February 22nd of this year, about 10:45 at night, a DPS trooper is working on the interstate as he's supposed to be doing traffic enforcement when he sees a minivan, a Toyota Sienna minivan, pass him. It was committing some traffic violations, so he made the decision to stop the van. He approached the van, and as I approached the vehicle, I observed it to have two Hispanic males in the third row seating area, one Hispanic adult male and one Hispanic child in the second row seating area, one adult Hispanic male in the front seat, and a female Hispanic driver. He talked to the driver, went through what he's trained to do with the driver, explained to her she'd be receiving a warning, asked her to come back to his vehicle to sit in his car while he did the paperwork. As he walks back to his car, he again observes the Hispanic males in the minivan, and he notices that each one of them has a backpack on their lap, a not very nice backpack. Each one of them appears to be in clothing that they've had on for several days. Like all of our troopers, he's had to work the border and be deployed down there, and he knows what is happening at the border. And he, as he says in his report, I have routinely encountered persons involved in human smuggling. I know from training and experience that they cross the Texas-Mexico border with only a backpack and basic survival items. So when the lady sits down in his car, he's asking, so whose Toyota, whose minivan is this? Oh, it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to someone else. It also has a temporary tag on it, a Virginia temporary tag on it. And he asks where she's going, and she advises that she's traveling to Atlanta from Houston. So if I were going to Atlanta from Houston, I would not be in Van Zandt County, but she says she's traveling from Atlanta to Houston. And he says in his report that he knows that a lot of the smuggling originates in Houston. With everything that I observed, I believed that the driver, the female driver, was engaging in human trafficking. I asked her if that was true, and she said no. She explained, and by the way, she doesn't speak English. They're using a translation service for this explanation. I am a single mom. I have 5 children. I found an ad on Facebook that they needed someone for pay. I was visiting here and it seemed good to me. She was visiting here. She answered the ad and was paid $900 by a person named Ray to transport the Hispanic males to Atlanta. So she admitted that she's engaged in human trafficking. With all of this information, this trooper calls for backup, has another trooper on scene. They contact Homeland Security and say, hey, we have a smuggler here. We have 4 adult males who appear to have been smuggled and a child. And Homeland Security tells them, Just get their names and let them go. Unfortunately, that's what the trooper did. So in his report, he wrote 4 names that are not those guys' names. And I'll bet you money that is not her child. I'll bet you money that kid was sitting there in case this happened. And he let him go and continue committing felonies all the way from here to Atlanta. Well, I had a problem with that. So I called his supervisor to find out what was going on. And they told me, like I said, they are not from our county. They don't normally work here. And they told me, well, the local DA where we work won't take those kind of cases. And my response was, this DA will. Absolutely, every day of the week. So now I have a case where the people are maybe in Atlanta, maybe in Virginia, maybe who knows where. And I can't do anything with them because I don't know where they are. And I bet you I don't have their right names. So is it affecting us? Yes, it is. Absolutely. Us and every other rural county. Every other county. Some of the bigger counties have DAs that won't act. This DA will. And this supervisor from DPS has apologized to me over and over again and has said that they should have called me to find out what my position was before they made that decision. So even if they are back in our county, it won't happen again from them. But I wish it hadn't happened the first time. If we happen to find these people, we will prosecute them, but I don't think there's any chance we'll find them. But it's just an example of we look at it as a border crisis, but it's really a national crisis.
So you have the proclamation before you. Is there a motion to approve the proclamation or resolution by Van Zandt County Commissioners Court in support of the governor to take necessary action to stop the chaos on our border? Is there a motion?
So moved, Pearson.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pearson. Is there, got a second by Commissioner LaPrade? Any questions or discussion?
Judge, I would like to comment real quick. There are lots of counties getting in line. Kennedy County, Goliad County, Hardin, Terrell, Wise, Parker, Edwards, Presidio, Live Oak, City of Uvalde, Rockfall County, Chambers County, Liberty County, Orange County, Ellis County, Johnson County, Tyler and Wilson. How can the free state of Van Zandt County not go along with that?
I agree. Okay. Any other discussion, comments? Questions?
Oh, it works.
Yeah. All in favor of approving the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Doc, I have a copy if you want to already signed by the commissioner, if you would like to have it. Absolutely. You won't come up. Go. In. On. One right here. Thank you, Don. Appreciate it. Item number 16, discuss and consider approval of conversion of Van Zandt County Sheriff's Office data from NAT data to Injustice Solutions onto Southern Software Inc. Now, I don't, who's representing you?
I put it on the agenda.
Okay,
Yes, gentlemen, as you know, we've got data stored on server from that data that is, I'll let Scott tell us about it. He can describe it better than me.
When we made the decision to go to Southern Software, the sheriff at the time didn't want to do a conversion. So conversion didn't happen. We have everything going forward on one server. We have data on from when they converted from that data to Justice Solutions on a different server. And we have the net data. So we have actually 3 generations of data that wasn't put together when we converted originally, when we actually went live with Southern, like it should have been in the first place. So now we have to consolidate it and get it done, because we have to keep those records. We can't let that stuff go.
My understanding that data server is end of life, so if it ever breaks down, we've lost it.
It's years past end of life,
And then the Justice Solution, we're still paying money to keep and maintain that.
paying every month.
Oh, well, I know.
Over a year and a half since we've gone live with Southern, we're still paying on the former.
So
And
this
it-
will eliminate both of those.
So this is gonna eliminate which one?
It's gonna eliminate both of them.
Net data,
It
Justice
covers the
Solutions.
conversion of net data and Justice Solutions.
It's gonna eliminate net data and
And-
Justice
and
Solutions,
Solutions.
and we'll stop that.
Right.
Okay. And is this what we were speaking of? You was talking about getting that conversion, which gonna help with the reports and stuff or coming over?
I have to have access to this data for potentially up to 20 years after someone is arrested.
Yeah.
We have to have, and we will not be secret compliant if we don't have.
What's the cost?
$36,000.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Make a
Got a
motion.
motion by Commissioner LaPrada. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner West. And Scott, will you follow through and make sure, right from the very beginning, when we was talking with the sheriff, if we go into a Justice Solutions, we're gonna save money. I mean, we're gonna save money at every step because we're gonna be able to eliminate something. If we do this, will you follow through and make sure, okay, we do eliminate these others?
When the sheriff first proposed, when Sheriff Hendricks first proposed Southern Software, Tonda and I both advised him, you need to do the conversion.
Right.
He didn't listen to us. Tonda, she has to have those records. We can't just, I don't know if he just
Yep.
thought we would keep on Southern or Justice Solutions forever, but Justice Solutions isn't gonna provide us a service for free forever, so they want their money too.
Yeah.
So this should have all been done in the very beginning when Sheriff Hendricks wanted to go to Southern Software.
Okay.
Just-
Okay, Sheriff, do you have any, it affects you, you have any input on it?
We can get access to the system also, what we have. Investigators off to work on something else, we go back to the cases. We have the record clips and stuff that's in there. Some people get locked into it. And when's time run out on one contract? The contract's all right. They've been out. We're going month to month on Justice Solutions. That data's been out for, I don't know how many years. And when we know the access to the system. But as long as we pay it, I'm sure they'll let us keep on. But anyway, the data's just been cracked. That's over 4 or 5 years past its end of life.
Okay. Any other?
Whose budget is coming out?
Sandy.
Spending budget.
Not in the book, but I had the sheriff department does have an extra money in the salary line. That will move $36,000. If you recall, we were preparing the 2023 budget, so we were on that contingency line of that. And we're there.
Yeah.
So we're not finding the money to do it. Or I mean, 2023.
And you asked Scott a question, what was I never heard the answer. Just asking the question.
I was gonna follow up.
That's that right.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Hmm.
I don't know how that's possible. How would I will do my best, but
I think if you make sure that the data gets converted and put in place, and then we follow up by not paying the additional money on the servers anymore that we don't need.
Right.
I think you just verify that that happens.
Right.
Is what they're
as
asking.
it all gets transferred.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion or questions? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 17 is taken care of itself. The EdCog has extended the Siri grant. So no action on item number 17. We'll move to item number 18. Discuss and consider designating the acting chief appraiser of Van Zandt County Appraisal District to calculate the no new revenue and voter approval rate and to sign the entity's tax rate calculation worksheet. We had approved Scott Slayton. Scott has resigned,
Yeah.
Scott
Ah,
Slayton. I thought you'd resign, Scott. Scott Hyde, Thank you.
Retirement.
Scott Hyde had taken another position, so we're just approving. And we put acting because right now we don't have a permanent one out there. They're in the process. She's gonna fill in till they do appoint one. But we do need to go ahead and approve that acting appraiser to do a worksheets for us.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner West,
Second Pierce.
second by Commissioner Pearson. Any questions or discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 19, discuss and consider approval of proposed tax rate 2022. Fiscal year 2023, take a record vote and set date and time for public hearing on the tax rate. And go over that with you. A tax rate of 0.4426938. $100 evaluation has been proposed by the governing body of Van Zandt County. The proposed tax rate that we have proposed is 0.44269380 per $100 evaluation. The no new revenue tax rate is 0.4321838 per $100 evaluation. Voter approval tax rate 0.442693385 per $100 evaluation. The no new revenue tax rate is the tax rate for the 2022 tax year that will raise the same amount of property tax revenue for Van Zandt County from the same properties in both the 2021 tax year and the 2022 tax year. The voter approval rate is the highest tax rate that Van Zandt County may adopt without holding an election to seek voter approval of the rate. The proposed tax rate is greater than the no new revenue tax rate. That means that Van Zandt County is proposing to increase property taxes for the 2022 tax year. A public hearing on the proposed tax rate will be held on September the 14th, 2022 at 9 a.m. at the Van Zandt County Courtroom, 121 East Dallas Street, room 204, Canton, Texas. The proposed tax rate is not greater than the voter approval tax rate. As a result, Van Zandt County is not required to hold an election at which voters may accept or reject the proposed tax rate. However, you may express your support or opposition to the proposed tax rate by contacting the members of the county clerk, and also I'd say the members of the Commissioners Court here of Van Zandt County at their offices or by attending the public hearing mentioned above, which I would be September the 14th, 2022 at 9 a.m. right here in Van Zandt County Courtroom. That is the. Is there a motion to approve the 0.44269380 proposed tax rate and set the date for the public hearing as September the 14th, 2022 at 9 a.m. I would make that motion. Is there a second? You got a second by Commissioner West. Any questions or discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Oh, that's right. Record vote. Commissioner Pratt,
That's it.
okay. Commissioner Pearson,
Yes.
Commissioner West,
Yes.
okay. All three members, yes. Okay, thank you for reminding me. I told Sandy, there's so much information today. Don't let me walk out of here messed up. Well, the best you can. The item number 22, discuss and 21. Discuss. Let's back up. My sheet, I've got a lot of notes on this sheet here. Item number 20, discuss and consider approving the reviewed Annex V terrorism incident report. It does not need to go through. The sheriff and I have got through that. We're signing it with Vicky. It's just changing sheriffs on that signature page, is what we're doing. No action needed on item number 20. We'll move to item number 21, discuss and consider of all Brightwood Forest subdivision plat located at the intersection of Van Zandt County Road 1517 and Van Zandt County Road 1524 in precinct 1. Commissioner LaPrade, you want to address the court on that?
Yes, John, it's a subdivision going in precinct 1. They have completed all required paperwork, sent the plat over to the engineer, Mr. Abbott, prior to coming in and filing, so it's fully approved. I have a letter here from him saying that it's proper and in order. I also have a copy of the invoice from him because they paid for the services to have the engineer check it prior to it come done. And I'd like to ask the court, along with approving this subdivision, to also approve waiving the $750 fee as it equates to what he spent at Mr. Abbott, which we would have paid for out of our funds anyway, had he brought to us first.
Okay. Is that a motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner LaPrade, second by Commissioner Pearson. Any questions or discussion?
On that 750, Chad, is Brian gonna bill us also, or?
No, sir.
Okay,
He sent over a copy of the invoice to verify what they had paid him. And I
okay.
got it here in your book.
Any other questions, discussion? Being none, all in favor of approving the subdivision, say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 22, discuss and consider implementing no through truck signs on Van Zandt County Road 3117 and Van Zandt County Road 3108.
Yes, sir, this is 3117 is back south of Highway 80, runs parallel with Highway 80. Some people call it Parkson Road, it's part of the old Shreveport Highway. And 3108 runs parallel with it. So there's no need for any trucks to cut through there unless they have business on those two roads, because they can travel Highway 80. So that's my motion, that we put authorize no through trucks on those two roads.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Pearson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner West. Any questions or discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 23, discuss and consider ratifying the lifting of the burn ban over Van Zandt County. Our fire marshal here, Sean, we did get a rain, and then the burn ban we implemented several weeks ago, and then it rained instantly. As soon as it rained, phone calls started coming into the commissioner's office, my office. I mean, we're flooded with phone. It hadn't even quit raining when they started calling. Wanting to know if they could burn. Well, the burn ban that we had implemented, it says, you know, the commissioners court, y'all the one voted to put it in place. So then they go in and research it. Sean and I researched the law. The commissioners can lift it, the county judge can lift it, or the fire marshal if the commissioners have given permission. If it's in the order. And so I spoke with Sean, it wasn't in this order. I went ahead and lifted the burn ban. I figured out how burn bans work. We implement a burn ban according to the Texas Forestry Service numbers, and we lift it according to commissioners' phone calls. And so I learned that this week. And so I did lift the burn ban, I believe on the 23rd. And I just want the commissioners court to ratify my decision of lifting of the burn ban. Sean, you want to, and I did speak with Sean, say, we need to put that in the order from now on, given authority to either Sean or the county judge to lift that burn. Sean, you have anything?
Right now, we're in great shape. Our average right now, like, the Keith Byram drought index is 359 out of 800, so. Burn away, I guess. You know, I know everybody's, people are talking about, I need to burn. Need or want, you know, but yeah, I don't see any problem with us having that lifted, and I don't see any reason to consider right now anything in the near future. It looks like we're gonna stay with a nice low drought index for a while.
Yeah. And I would encourage to put where the county judge or the fire marshal can lift that burn ban due to the fact we implement it according to Texas Forestry Service numbers, but their numbers run about 2 to 3 days behind. So even the day after that huge rain, and we're dealing with flooding through the courthouse, the numbers were still high.
Sure, but understand they're not out in
Right.
ankle deep water taking soil samples that day either.
That's right. So is that a motion by Commissioner LaPrade? Second. Any questions or discussion?
Do we have the official date that it was lifted?
23rd.
23rd.
23rd. Yeah, 23rd. That's when I signed it and everything. Okay. Did we vote on that?
We haven't voted.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's see. Okay, item number 24, discuss and consider authorizing Van Zandt County Judge to sign release from Encore Electric Delivery regarding damages to Van Zandt County Road 3523.
Yes, sir. Encore rebuilt the transmission line, goes from Wills Point to Edgewood, and they did some extensive traveling on 3523. And we've reached an agreement. And like y'all are aware of, if we have damages from JCO, any of our major utilities, you have to come to agreement and sign a release before you get the check. But they're going to send us a check for $21,875.50. And I've got a release here for the county judge to sign. I make a motion, we authorize him to sign that so we can settle this dispute.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Pearson, second by Commissioner West. So there's, okay, do we need to accept the money for the damages?
Well, we haven't got the money yet.
Will that be on?
It will be coming.
Okay.
Just with these big utility companies, that's the way they work, and we can refer to legal advice if y'all think we need to. But that's what we've always done in the past. So.
Okay. Have a motion and second. Any other questions, discussion? Being none, all in favor say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I think you kind of hand them. You hand them the release and they hand you the check kind of at the same time.
Okay. Item number 25. Discuss and consider agreement salary hearing results regarding district clerk, precinct 2 constable, precinct 4 constable. There was not enough the votes to present it back to the commissioner's court. I don't do, or do y'all want to take action to agree to give the $3,000, or, you know, we had already approved the $3,000 raise for the elected officials. The way I was thinking, that's still in place. You know, we voted to give it, it's there. When they didn't get enough votes to come back to commissioner court, I don't believe we need any action on this item.
I think we just need to do it.
But you agree, Sandy? Or?
When I served them, their salary, the agreement, when court said the salary on Wednesday, then I turned around and served each elected official and let them know what the new salary was going to be, what the increase was. So I feel like that's
Right. Right. And there's debate, and I think it could be challenged. I think there's debate, okay, here's what the court approved your salary, and they said, okay, we don't accept that, we're gonna file a grievance. Okay. So they come to grievance. I guess there's debate, could you go back and say, okay, you forfeited the 3, but I would be in favor of saying, okay, you know, here's the 3. But you can look at it and say, okay, what's the incentive not to agree? You know, so it's however the court wants.
But I think that a lot of this came about because the statement was made to the grievance committee. If y'all don't state on here that I get this $3,000, Commissioner's Court's not gonna give it to me. That's not so. I say we move on, everybody, all elected officials, with the exception of the sheriff, it's a $3,000 raise, and let's move on.
Okay.
I
second make a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Pearson, second by Commissioner West.
I'm in agreement.
Do what?
I'm in agreement.
You agree? All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I feel more comfortable. You know, there. Item number 26, discuss and consider approval of fiscal year 2022 budget amendments. Yeah, that's what. So we'll add that 36,000 that we discussed with to it.
Motion made.
Got a motion by Commissioner LaPrade. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Commissioner Pearson. Any questions or discussion about the budget amendments? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 27, discuss and consider approval of July 2022 financial and investment report of county treasurer to be entered into minutes of Commissioner's Court.
so move Pearson.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pearson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner West. Any questions or discussion for Kenny? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 28, discuss and consider monthly reports submitted by various offices and departments of county government and approval of entry of same in the court's minutes as matter of record. Mr. West, do you have any comment?
Oh, yeah, of course, we had 3 meetings this month, but we got all of them in. And did a really good job. Appreciate everybody.
Is that a motion to approve the report?
It is.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner West, second by Commissioner LaPrade to approve. Any questions on the reports that were submitted? Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, at this time, we're gonna move into closed executive session in compliance with section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code to seek advice of its attorney regarding pending litigation and consultation with its attorney regarding matters protected by the attorney-client privilege. And is that while we're in executive session, we'll also be entertaining item number 30, closed executive session in compliance with section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Also, item number 31, closed executive session in compliance with section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee. After that, we will reconvene to open session. Now, who do we need? I would ask, what about Andy staying in? He's gonna be the next county judge coming in. I don't know. Okay. It would violate the attorney-client privilege. Okay. He will be, yeah, okay. We'll call you, Andy. Make sure all recorders are turned off.